Going to call the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to order here this morning, and our first case on our docket is case number 6336. Mr. Dixon, before you introduce the file, it's a couple of housekeeping details. If you haven't signed in on the clipboard over there with this case, please do that at some point in time. Make sure that any electronic devices are on silence. And please, 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 when you leave here, do not go out those doors. Make sure you turn your badges in up there because they will track you down. So just make sure that you go out and turn your badges in so they're not searching the building for you. Okay, Mr. Dixon, you want to go ahead and introduce the file for us, please?
All right, case 6335, an application for conditional use for a child care center in an existing church building. The site is located at 1950 Deer Park Road, Finksburg, Maryland, on property zone R40,000 Residence District.
Case number what?
6335.
The page you gave us listed at 6336.
So it is 6335.
Yes, 6335.
Thank
So
you.
we have wrong on ours. Okay.
Okay, good.
Case 6335, an application for conditional use for a child care center in an existing church building. The site is located at 1950 Deer Park Road, Finksburg, Maryland, on property zone R40,000 Residence District in Election District 4 by Sheila C. Onesti, Code of Public Local Laws and Ordinances, Section 158.072D1. A site visit is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, July 21st, 2021 at approximately 9:35 a.m. In the file of this matter, we have the following documents. Site minutes. There is a response from Laura Mateus, Bureau Chief, Development Review. After review of the request, a proposal, Development Review has no comments. There is a response to Joe Vance's request of various state and local agencies from Thomas Harris, Permits and Inspections. The site shall be in compliance with the Maryland Accessibility Code. A change of use permit is required. There is a July 13th, 2021 letter from Linda D. Eisenberg, Secretary to the Planning and Zoning Planning Commission. After having reviewed the information contained in the attached analysis, the facts as presented in the application, the relevant portions of the plan, and in accordance with the land use article, this conditional use request, if granted, is consistent with the policies, timing of the implementation of the plan, timing of development, timing of rezoning, development patterns, land uses, and densities or intensities. There is a July 6, 2021 memo from Hannah Weber, Planning Technician. The above referenced BZA case had been reviewed for consistency with the policies and recommendations contained in the 2014 Carroll County Master Plan, the Carroll County Water and Sewer Master Plan, and other functional plans. The staff finding is that this request is consistent with the 2014 Carroll County Master Plan as amended in 2019 and would not have an adverse effect on the current use of the property. There is a response from Christopher P. Hahn, Bureau Chief, Resource Management. Comments from Pat Varga, no comments. There is a response to Joe Vance's request of various state and local agencies from Matt Shipley, Carroll County Environmental Health Department. Proposed use may not be acceptable unless it is demonstrated that there is an adequate water supply and adequate area for the installation of an initial and 2 replacement septic systems for the proposed use and any existing uses of this property. There is a response to Joe Vance's request of various state and local agencies from J.P. Smith Jr., Program Manager, Ag Land Preservation Program. Not in ag, comment, not in ag preservation. There is a Response to Joe Vance's request to various state and local agencies from Jay Voigt, zoning administrator. Comments? No comments. There is a July 27th, 2021 notice of public hearing for this case. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a June 28th, 2021 notice of public hearing for this case. There is a hearing notice was posted June 25th, 2021 by zoning inspector Scott Robinson. There was an investigation, a progress report by the zoning administration in this matter. Notice of public hearing in the case of the applicant, adjoining property owners and interested parties went out June 23rd, 2021. And then there is the request for conditional use for a daycare center. I would ask that the file be entered into evidence.
So moved.
So I have a second. Okay, so I have a motion and a second to move the file into evidence. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
We'll move the file into evidence. Okay, the applicant can go ahead and come to the one of the microphones at the table. Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Before you sit down, if anyone is going to testify today in this case, could you go ahead and please stand and take the oath? So if you plan on testifying, does anyone else in the audience plan on testifying? Just you? Okay, go ahead and raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can be seated.
Thank you.
And please state for the record, your name, address, and occupation, and spell for the record your last name.
My name is Sheila C. Honesty, Onesty. My address is 2111 Woodview Road, Finksburg, Maryland. I am a child care provider.
Okay.
Okay, and in accordance with what's already been stated, my daughter is here. She works with me at our previous center that we were at. And I have another daughter, so myself and my two girls were looking to open a small center. Originally, we had asked maybe up to 15, possibly 20, depending on our space, because the church I attend, and this is Pastor Tom, who's the pastor of the church, we use Sunday school rooms on Sunday mornings to teach children. We want to use them for childcare Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5:30. The health department did get back in touch with me that based on the septic, we can have 15 in the building per day, which would, with 3 staff members, would give us 12. So it's a very small center that we're looking to open.
Okay. And anything else you want to add to?
Anything else you need to know?
Well, we'll go. Since it appears there's all friendlies in there, anybody in the public have any comment about her testimony?
No, sir.
Okay. Board members, any questions of the testimony?
No.
Would you like to make any summation comments?
We would really like to, I come from Baltimore County in a center of 40 for almost 30 years. The other reason for doing this is because of COVID and daycare shutting down. And when I left my job on June 18th because of financial problems and staff cuts, some of the parents also removed their children. I have people waiting for childcare. One of the neighbors actually came over and said, would we do after-school care? So there's a need in the community that we would like to help. Even with a small number, it's a place to start. And to help my daughters get in a center and, you know, help them. I've done this for over 30 years, so I would like to see them be able to do something in childcare for the future.
Okay, thank you. Presentation of testimony and evidence is now closed, and the hearing and record of this case is now closed. In accordance with the Open Meetings Act of Maryland, the board will now consider the case. You're first.
My pleasure. Thank you for your presentation, for your offering of service in the community. There seems to be evidence that there's a need in the community. You have a willing and able staff. I see no reason to object. I'm going to vote in favor.
In
Mr.
favor.
Caldwell.
No questions, I'm in favor.
Okay. Ms. Eckert.
I have nothing to add. I'm going to vote in favor.
Nothing to add, I'll be in favor.
The only thing I want to add is, and this is my observation from making the site visit last week, there's ample parking there, especially when you're considering it's 12 kids, not 40 kids. And I don't see where this daycare center at this location would create any adverse effects, noise, dust, traffic, odors, congestion greater than elsewhere in the R40,000 residential district. So I just want to make sure that that's in the record and that's our basis for approval. Okay, board members, do we have a motion?
I move in case 6335 to approve a conditional use request for a child care center in the existing church building.
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the conditional use request. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion carries. Our oral decision will become final upon a written decision which will be issued within 30 days unless otherwise extended by the board. The board's decision may be appealed by filing a petition for judicial review with the clerk of the circuit court for Carroll County in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 200, Title 7 of the Maryland Rules of Procedure. The appeal must be filed within 30 days of the date of the board's written decision. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna call the BZA meeting to order, and we have before us case number 6338. Mr. Dixon, you wanna go ahead and introduce the file?
Case 6338, an application for conditional use for farm alcohol production. The site is located at 400 South Clear Ridge Road, New Windsor, Maryland, on property zone A, Agricultural District and Election District 2 by Aaron Brothers, Code of Public Local Laws and Ordinances, Section 158.070 E1AA. A site visit is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, July 21st, 2021 at approximately 9:15 a.m. Should I go through the file? In the file of this matter, we have the following documents. Site minutes. There's a response to memos that Joe Vance sent out to various state and local agencies. There is a response from Laura Mateus, Bureau Chief, Development Review. Her comments: the proposal may require a site plan in accordance with Chapter 155. There is a response from J.P. Smith Jr., Program Manager, Ag Land Preservation Program. This farm is under a rural legacy easement. It is required to have an up-to-date conservation plan. The plan must be up to date, including the cattle being something out of the stream for ag preservation approval.
Would that be fenced?
I don't know what the word is. Maybe fenced. Fenced out of the stream for ag preservation approval. There's a response to Joe Vance's request from Thomas Harris Permits and Inspections. The site shall be in compliance with the Maryland Accessibility Code. A change of use permit is required and shall be obtained before occupying the building. Permanent restroom facilities are required and will be addressed before the change of use permit process. There's a July 13, 2021 letter from Linda D. Eisenberg, Secretary to the Planning Commission. After having reviewed the information contained in the attached analysis, the facts as presented in the application, the relevant portions of the plan, and in accordance with the land use article, this conditional use request, if granted, is consistent with the policies, timing of the implementation of the plan, timing of development, timing of rezoning, development patterns, land uses, and densities or intensities. There is a July 7th, 2021 memo from Hannah Weber, Planning Technician. The above referenced BZA case has been reviewed for consistency with the policies and recommendations contained in the 2014 Carroll County Master Plan as amended in 2019, the Carroll County Water and Sewer Master Plan, and other functional plans as applicable. The staff finding is that this request is consistent with the 2014 Carroll County Master Plan as amended in 2019 and would not have an adverse effect on the current use of the property. There is a response to Joe Vance's request from Jay Voigt, Zoning Administrator. A complete site plan in accordance with Chapter 155 of the Carroll County Code will be required if approval is granted. There is a response to Joe Vance's request from Christopher P. Hahn, Bureau Chief, Resource Management. Comments? No comment. There is a response to Joe Vance's request from Matt Shipley, Carroll County Environmental Health Department. Comments? Proposed use may not be acceptable unless it is demonstrated that there is an adequate water supply and adequate area for the installation of an initial and 2 replacement septic systems for the proposed use and any existing uses of this property. There is a June 28, 2021 notice of public hearing for this case. Hearing notice was posted June 25th, 2021 by zoning inspector Scott Robinson. There is a investigation progress report from the zoning administration. Then there is this conditional use for farm alcohol production. I would ask that the file be entered into evidence.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, I have a motion to move the file into evidence. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. We will move the file into evidence. Before we get started, I see you did sign the sign-in sheet. Please leave by the front door, not the side door, and turn your badges in. They will hunt you down. So make sure that you do that. If you plan on testifying here today, could you please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, you can be seated. Based on what's in the file, Mr. Smith, would you like to come before the microphone?
Sure.
And please state your name, address, and occupation, and would you spell your name for the record? And your address is this address, not your home address, okay?
My name is J.P. Smith, last name S-M-I-T-H. I'm the program manager for ag preservation here at 225 North Center Street, Westminster, Maryland.
Thank you.
To my defense, on the comment sheet, they don't leave a lot of room for you to write on there. So I apologize, Mr. Dixon, that you couldn't read my handwriting. Okay, so I've been talking with Rural Legacy Department at the Department of Natural Resources and also the Department of Agriculture and Maryland's Ag Land Preservation Foundation. I got an email from Diane Chassie that says, the Rural Legacy easement owned by Mr. and Mrs. Brothers is an easement that was granted to the Maryland Agricultural Land Preservation Foundation and to the Carroll County Commissioners. The Maryland Agricultural Land Preservation Foundation consulted with the Rural Legacy Program, which funded the easement, and Rural Legacy believes we, Maryland Ag Land Preservation Foundation, can interpret the easement to be consistent with our existing policies. However, we have not yet sought legal advice from our Assistant Attorney General on the matter of whether we can use our existing policies, and we don't know enough about the proposed activity to know whether it would fit under value-added uses, which is number 10 on the attached chart. And I have that, and I'll read that as well. The attached chart requires Foundation Board approval for value-added uses. So Foundation approval starts at the county level. We would need an official request letter to the Carroll County Ag Advisory Board, and then that recommendation would go to the state for final approval.
For clarification, from the applicant.
Yes,
You
that
would
would
need-
come directly from the brothers. They would submit us an official request letter for this conditional use. The Ag Advisory Board here at Carroll County would vote on that and make a recommendation to the state. So because an alcohol production is a conditional use, it has to go through that process.
Okay.
Continuing on with the email, in addition, there's a soil conservation violation on the property, which has been documented by Deborah Bowers in a letter to the brothers in September 2020, which I have a copy of that letter as well to submit into evidence. Foundation staff has also sent a letter that indicates this violation. And lastly, there is a provision in the statute that gives the county the authority to deny a permit if a landowner is not in compliance with the foundation easement. I have a copy of that as well. Number 10 on the conditional use is processed or value-added farm and forest products. Some of the products must come from animals raised or crops grown on site. The remainder must come from animals raised in or crops grown in Maryland or regionally produced, unless a landowner can demonstrate the need for non-regionally produced products, which shall be specifically approved by the board. And that's speaking to the Board of Trustees at Mouth. Alcohol producers must comply with COMAR 03.02.01 alcohol beverages. So I have a letter here that was sent September 24th to the Brothers residents about the soil conservation violation. And I have a copy of a letter that was recently sent, which you may not have received yet, from the Department of Agriculture. And I wasn't sure if you needed me to read the statute that gives us.
You're gonna enter this into evidence?
Yes, I am gonna
Go
enter
ahead
it all
and
into.
read that into the record
Okay.
then.
So this is 2-513.1. This section applies only to applications affecting land encumbered by a deed of easement created under this subtitle. If the foundation has not authorized approval of the application, a county may deny an application for subdivision plat or plan, a building permit, except for improvements or accessories to an existing residence or a farm building or structure. Number 3, a non-agricultural conditional use or special exemption, which is where this falls under. It would be agricultural use, but it would be conditional, and any other non-agricultural use or activity. So basically, we need an official request letter to the Carroll County Ag Advisory Board that would then be voted on and recommended to the state and be heard by their Board of Trustees.
Okay, so we can't act on this today until those things have occurred.
I think that's correct.
Okay, now my question to you is, what type of timeline are we looking at? Because I'm assuming we're looking at a postponement of this case at this point?
The request could be heard at the September Ag Advisory Board meeting. So if we had a letter soon, it's always the first Wednesday of each month. And
And then you have to get on the agenda of the mouth?
usually it takes almost 2 months, because by the time we get that done, they're already getting ready for the next one. So it would end up being
November
close to then. Yes, sir.
is when the mouth board
Would
would
very
act on it.
possibly see that case in front of their trustees.
And then at that point, if everything's okay, then they could come back before us.
Yes, sir.
Board members, any questions of Mr. Smith's testimony? Ms. Brothers, would you like to say anything? You've heard everything, our hands are really tied at this particular point. I hope you understand that. Because their approvals trump anything that we do. Those approvals have to occur before we can act on it. Okay? And if you have any questions, this isn't testimony, this is just point of fact, absolutely call Mr. Smith and talk to him, and he will guide you through the application or the process that needs to be adhered to in order for us to act on this case. Okay? Board members,
You need a motion.
Mr. Dixon, a legal, normally when we postpone a case, we have a timeline. Can we make a motion that would say when these conditions are met, the case can be brought back before the Board of Zoning Appeals?
Yes.
So we do not need a specific date.
Yes.
So that would meet legal sufficiency.
Yes.
Okay. Board members, do we have a motion? They're pointing to you.
In case 6338, I vote that we grant a postponement until the conditions required by the Rural Legacy Program are satisfied.
Second?
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion?
Can I ask the board to change the motion to the Maryland Ag Land Preservation Foundation?
To mouth instead of roll legacy.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll change the motion to mouth instead of roll legacy. It's a jointly held easement. Kind of confusing. Okay, any further discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Mr. Dixon, I don't need to read about anything else. So this case right now is postponed. Wait a minute, I see Mr. Voigt is in the back. He raised his hand.
I just want to remind the people who came in late to make sure they sign up so they can be notified of the due date for the hearing.
Okay. Very good. I'm very sorry about this, but we'll have a postponement and then when all this gets taken care of, you can come back before us. Thank you very much. Let me ask the people that kind of came in late, are you here for this case on Clearview?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Yeah, please sign in, because we have a case that was with